We don't want to live in space only because of daylight savings. Everything else, like in Ash, seems great. Seems like people do really well.
Yeah.
Food seems terrible too.
Food seems terrible.
Have you ever had astronaut food?
No. I've had the astronaut ice cream.
Is it good?
It's decent.
I mean, it's a little sugary. Like anything that has just a little sugar in it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I'm okay with sugar, all the sugar you want. I'm fine with that.
As long as it's
the
real,
powder
though.
food
You know what I
that
mean?
I'm like, this is gross.
Yeah, no.
You know, we're stumbling on something really interesting here because if that's the common denominator in almost every space movie, shit always goes wrong because of the terrible food.
Yes.
Interesting.
I couldn't agree more.
No.
Wow.
That's
it has
it.
to be a
Okay.
nightmare to be a foodie and have to move to space.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Like
yeah.
that
Not
sounds like
happening.
the war. Like it's just like
Yeah, no. It's a no.
a nightmare.
It seems like on every crew there would always be that one person that would walk up to the designated cook and be like, "But where's the caviar?"
That
and
would
they're
be
like,
me.
Where is the caviar?
"Right? Are you
Yeah.
for real? You can't freeze dry caviar."
I
Where
could
is the
know.
caviar?
Where is the caviar?
Yeah.
You
Where
could
is
have
it?
like a version of space caviar. God knows what that would taste like.
Absolutely not. No,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
actually the sequel to this. Is the
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
fucking horror
Space
movie?
caviar.
Space caviar.
I trademark that. Run, Flying Lotus.
Pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Aliens can come out of that.
Yeah.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
I want to know what your set is like because I know what your movies are like. And for me, sitting in the audience, I'm always like the mind blown emoji because
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, I like to have fun.
I can
making
tell that.
films is a hard gig. It's a hard gig. It's challenging. So, however you can make it fun and still get the work done, I'm all for it. And I think Aaron, you guys brought up the music. Playing music on set was, I guess, a pretty big deal.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
the best. He
Amazing.
was constantly playing music just to
We were just
set
like-
the vibe. It was really a beautiful experience.
and break it down for me, because as a deep lover of our sound brothers and sisters, that seems like kind of like a nightmare a little bit because it's like, how do you get levels? What do you do? So is it just people are setting up different shot?
Yeah, we would do it between setups, but there was a couple times where we had
Well, in the scene.
in the scenes. Yeah,
It
we
puts
did
us in
have
the mood.
some audio when we knew we weren't going to use sound for the scenes. Or definitely would add a little bit of a texture just to set a tone, set a mood.
But that's the dream of having a director who's also our soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
creator. Yeah, you're like, great.
It all comes together.
It really just allows you to sort of have a vision of what you're going to do and really get into the zone.
Are you catching a vibe, or do you go in with a plan as to what music's playing when? Because I just started playing D&D games.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
And I love our dungeon master because I can't believe it took me this long to play, by the way. Look at me. Jesus. and he puts music on that gives
That's
us an
cool.
idea of what's about to happen. And everybody's
That's
like,
cool.
oh, snap, here
Yeah.
we go. It's
Yeah.
battle time. So do you have a plan, or are you just feeling it?
I come from the DJ world, jazz mentality, so it's off top.
Yeah.
Always off top.
Nice.
Just whatever the energetic thing requires that's my
I
responsibility.
just had a realization that I've worked with so many musical directors.
Yes, that's true, actually.
It just hit me because I guess for me it's become so normal because when you were doing it, I was like, wow, this is like a vibe. But like Robert Rodriguez is always
Yo.
playing the guitar on set.
That's so
Awesome.
cool.
In between, he's like, I think about this, like the way that you were on set. Like I'm thinking of this, and it's such an amazing thing to experience on the other side as an artist, watching them create. Like they're watching the scene, they're in the monitor, they're looking at it, and their brain's going tick, 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 and you can see them. And he was like, oh, I like this trumpet, I think this could be cool. Or Robert would be like playing a riff on the guitar when we were doing Baby Driver, same with Edgar. Like it's cool to see when you have directors that are so well-rounded in that sense. It just gives a complete different experience.
Yeah, and it's like when you're working with someone that's vision seems 360, and then
Yeah.
you get the sense that there's like a whole group of people who are working towards this vision
Yeah.
that's totally bonkers. It's
But you feel safe because
Yeah,
they
you
know
feel
what
safe.
they
Yeah,
want.
exactly
And so
right.
you're not in a limbo of artistic decisions.
And as an actor, when you're hearing music that you weren't expecting, was there a specific moment you might be able to point to where it took you in a different direction than you thought you were going to go?
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I never knew what the music was going to be, but I was just always so happy about it.
Yeah.
You know, I welcomed it with open arms always, because I never experienced that before.
Yeah.
They would
Yeah.
always between.
Was it your
some
first time doing
moments-
that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
cool.
I
Between
mean, sometimes I would put
You on your own
on my
creative.
own just to kind of get
Right.
into it, but this was the first on like loudspeakers for the whole crew. It was great.
Awesome.
Music is such an amazing vessel to create. It's just, and I remember we would talk about it because obviously I would question, like, I'd be interviewing him in between scenes, but it's cool because it really, like for me, when I'm creating a role, the way that you said it, like the playlist really defines the vibe of the character.
Yeah.
And you kind of get, I remember like even driving to my first audition for Baby Driver, and I had a playlist for it, and obviously Nowhere to Run, you know, that song was in it, and I was singing it, and it just gets you, like, it puts you into this character. And so watching a director that has that vision, and it was really clear when he was going into this zone of musical artistry, it was fascinating to watch, really.
When I learned that about like the way that you put stuff together, then all of a sudden your pieces made a lot of sense, because
Sure,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, that like kind of seems like a secret sauce.
Yeah.
That I've
For
always
sure.
asked myself, like, how do you come up with this stuff? Because I'm always sitting in the audience like, what?
Yeah, like with Kuzo, you're like, whoa,
Right?
Yeah.
I love it. And I with Ash, I found myself wanting like a laundry list of what was real versus what you had to imagine that was added later as effects. How much was practical? Was anything practical?
everything.
I think everything.
A lot was practical.
Yes!
Everything
Yeah, a lot was
really
we were
was.
practical.
Yeah,
a lot.
props to
It
our
was a
team.
pretty
Amazing.
wild environment to be in for a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the set, as soon as you open the door, you're out on the planet's surface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it
wasn't
was-
like-
it was set
right there.
Yeah.
Exactly the same way in the
Wow.
film.
Yeah.
It's not like separate sets. Sometimes
Yeah.
it happens. It was all one set, like the
Yeah.
the planet and then the base in the middle.
Yeah.
But for a moment for us, you know, we were like, we've been in the dark for 2
real?
months
Yeah,
and a half.
absolutely.
We were like, we would walk in and we're
Yeah.
like, how are you holding up?
Yeah.
"Oh, Steven, are you okay? I'm okay too.
Yeah.
We're just like shivering because we haven't had vitamin D in like 2.5 months. And Aaron and I would be like, can we go into, remember when we went to the botanical garden? We were like
yeah.
running like children because we
Yeah.
hadn't seen the sun.
And then all of the rainbows.
Oh, that was the
So,
most.
yeah.
We had an amazing experience happen
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Magical.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
thing from start to finish. You don't even have to be on set, and it's all magic. Is what it
Yes.
sounds like.
It was
was.
pretty magical.
And like even the costumes, like they have like their own light supply,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Tell them about that because it's honestly
suits?
incredible to hear
It
about
looked
it.
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
scribbled down a note that was basically like, "Holy shit! Uniform, costume, outfits."
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tore through.
killed
He did the costumes. Came up with this cool logo here. And
It's
yeah,
like a pie, but sexy.
It really
Yeah.
is. It's like a pie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
there was something about when you get an opportunity to create spacesuit, exosuit, and that was the way it was written in the script, as an exosuit. And so my vision of it just started to go off. You know, it wasn't just like a spacesuit. Then I started just thinking, oh, what do they like? What do they like? What is this company's version of a spacesuit like? And we had a really great company, MDI, come up with these suits too, and they brought over a few different concepts, and
They were unbelievable.
They were
That's so
amazing,
cool.
yeah.
Like
It
looking
was-
at concept suits, like the
Oh,
ones,
yeah.
even the ones that didn't make the cut. That must be really
it was
cool.
super
process.
cool. There was some that like looked straight out of Halo.
Yeah.
You know, and I
Yes.
was just like, oh.
Yeah.
That was one of the
Not
cool
our
things
movie,
about
but,
him. He came in, remember, with this like array of visual imagery
Yeah.
and clarity of a vision. And it was just so cool because you read the script and you can come up with like ideas, but it really takes someone like him to elevate it to what it turned out to be, because it can go both ways. Like it's a horror genre bending film. It could go south really fast.
Yeah.
And it takes someone with taste and style and vision. And he just had it, man. I remember calling, Aaron and I were talking about it if we were going to do it. And we were like, man, we cannot not do this. This
can't
is
not.
sick. It's like, it's worth the
Yeah.
risk.
You
Like,
would be an asshole if you didn't.
Yes. It was just so cool, right?
It's true. And I think the fact that you and I have known each other for so long and we were able to tackle this together, I think really just was the driving force to run towards him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
It
just
was
such
just
a
like
brilliant
everything
man.
lined up
There's
perfectly.
synergy.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really
Like,
lined up perfectly.
Yeah, it was great.
Do you? Because I mean, there's some parts of the exosuit like are sort of reminiscent of like a little Guillermo del Toro. Like this has like drops of horror in it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So do you start out with like drawings? Do you start out with multimedia? Like how do you lure people in visually
Yeah.
to convince them to do the project, or else they're the asshole?
Photoshop, and I think some world building was really nice. I had about a year of kind of messing around with ideas in my head before we even got together. So I've been cooking. I've
Yeah.
been cooking
Oh,
a
you
bunch of
had it
stuff.
then.
I
Yeah.
had been cooking up a bunch of stuff and some lore in my mind, and it was when you get a script like that, it's just. I was my 13-year-old in me was
Yeah.
awakened. It was just
Yes.
like, let's go.
Yeah, that was the consensus. We were all sort of geeking out because it's like it's a childlike movie. It's like
Yeah.
the world building is what I think a lot of actors and directors is what of course everyone wants to be grounded stories, of course,
Sure.
but there is something magical about cinema and world building. I remember the first time I saw Pan's Labyrinth or
Yes.
Right.
movies that
Yes.
sort of even something silly as well, not silly, but like The Secret Garden, like movies
Yeah.
that create
A
and
world.
to us, like whatever it was that guided all of us to do it. There was a synergy. We all connected in the same inspiration, and it made the process so beautiful.
This seems like one of those movies and those interactions with your cast and crew that it would be difficult to pick a favorite moment, but also if you had one, like a best day on set or something, you were like, I actually pulled that off. Like I actually did this thing, because this movie has a little bit of everything. It's gorgeous to look at. There's a lot of ass kicking, mystery, horror. I felt like looking at the landscape is like, am I looking at the folds of a human brain right now? Like, where am I? There's
Yeah.
so much to consider.
I have a favorite. There was a day, and these two had their most dramatic scene.
Oh yeah,
The blue argument is what I call it.
blue argument.
The blue
Argument.
argument, yeah. And I just remember the cast knowing ahead of time that this was going to be the big drama scene of the movie, and I just felt like everyone was like
In it.
Yeah, they were so excited to see these two go head to head in a real dramatic, explosive moment, and I just remember just geeking out, and then it was awesome.
I feel like I know a shot that really lodged in my brain, because it also was, I was like, the minute that I see Aaron and his face is blue, but he's rimmed with like this like bright pink, that's trouble.
Yeah, trouble. You knew it.
Yeah, that was what
That
that,
was
lighting
it.
said to me. I was
Yeah.
like, well, I don't want to see you lit like that, but wait, but I also do,
you're like,
but I don't.
what is happening?
Yeah.
No, every day to be surrounded in that glow and to be surrounded by these artists here was truly such a dream. And doing it in New Zealand and just tackling something that I've never personally sort of tried to tackle before.
Yeah.
And, it was a crazy, fucked up world.
Yeah.
But feel blessed to be a part of it.
And I get why, when released into a world outside of that you're running around and you're happy there's rainbows, because it's
Yeah.
Exactly.
We were like in the
Absolutely.
rain and we saw 3 rainbows
Yeah.
like layer up. And I took the coolest
triple rainbow.
in the
Yeah.
middle of the rain in the most beautiful, the Botanical Garden, New Zealand, which is one of the
Yeah.
most beautiful places. But for me, it was really, I felt a lot of responsibility. I'd never shouldered a movie like this before.
Yeah.
It was my first.
That's right, isn't it? Now that I think
Absolutely.
about
First
it.
time.
And you
Yeah.
deserve it, girl.
I
She's
love
just
you.
so amazing.
Yeah, she
Thank
came
you.
in.
You know.
She
I
came
just-
in, like,
I was very
ready to go.
passionate.
Absolutely.
I believed in his vision. I was really passionate. I couldn't have been more grateful that Aaron jumped in and believed in me, because people don't speak about it a lot, but these movies get made by like other actors that believe in other actors a lot, and they go and
real.
support you. And he, from the get-go, was like, you know what? You deserve it. You're my girl. I will go do it. And he was like happily chilling with his family. You know, he didn't need to do it. And he believed in Steven, he believed in me, and he was excited about doing something different. And, you know, I was really nervous. I was so eager to do well and to live up to what he wanted because it's his baby, and to live up to, you know, him in the studio. I had been doing this since I was really young, but I never had in the U.S. the opportunity to lead a movie like that.
Well, you led it with just such
And I was
grace.
scared. Thank you.
No, you did. It was amazing. And
I
I'm so
was
happy
scared.
that people are going to be able to see this in the theaters because it deserves that.
Oh my God,
You
yes.
know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's
just
also
such a-
independent filmmaking, you
Yeah,
know. It's a
definitely.
lot of people with love and passion making a off the wall, crazy genre bending movie that is meant to entertain people, and the theaters, you know, will keep these movies alive.
I started to laugh when you said we'll entertain people because I wish you could have seen my face while I was watching it because it was a lot. There was a lot going on here.
Entertained.
And that so entertained, and that's what South by is to me.
Yeah.
Is seeing these movies that are challenging in one way or another. I don't always like them, but
But you appreciate
I appreciate them,
Correct.
and it gives me all the faces. When
Yeah.
I'm sitting, it's like I can't mind my face.
Yeah.
When I watch movies like this and movies at this festival.
That's
Right.
great.
Good.
That's great.
So I don't know, like what kind of order you've shot this in your work, but have you taken anything from your ASH experience into these projects that, like, folks at CBR really love? So we've got like Three Body Problem. You're working with Guy Ritchie again. That's coming out. Like even the video game that's coming out where you're doing voice work.
Yeah.
Where does that fall in the lineup?
Yeah, well, you know what? Honestly, after Ash, I took a lot of time off. I'm just now kind of getting back on set. I have two babies, you know.
Yeah.
And so
that's
really,
all your time.
That's really my time. Yeah, you know, I have other work I'm working on as well outside of this industry, but
He's just killing it out there with his mezcal
Killing
and caviar. Talking about caviar.
Yeah.
Talking about caviar,
Yeah.
honey.
Do you get the
If you
sense?
got-
ship
if you
it
need
to
a caviar
space.
guy,
You can
if
ship
need
it to
a caviar
space.
guy, and your guy, beautiful Italian caviar, just let me know.
Plug.
Do,
It's really good.
I'm going to phrase it like this: like, do you get the sense that the world is cheering you on because, like, you're beloved and you're working with these people that also,
love
as
you.
artists, are so appreciated? But like, do you feel that support lifting you up all the time?
I
When
mean,
was the last time you bought a drink?
Yeah, that's true.
Look, I feel very blessed. I do feel loved, and just to be able to work with just dear friends,
Yeah.
you know, new friends. It's an embarrassment of riches. The fact that we get to tell stories for a living is truly such a blessing, and we can never forget that.
Greatest job in the world.
The greatest
Yeah.
job in the
And
world.
it's
We're
like
so
the most
lucky.
fulfilling.
Yeah, I mean, you get to
creative.
watch projects and talk about projects. You know what I mean? It's so
cool.
fun. you know,
it's when you're shining your light, it all falls into place.
Yeah.
is the thing that I've learned over the
I
years.
love that.
And it's like
it's
that's
true.
what it's all about.
It's
It
true.
is.
And so, like, you've led this movie, and as far as like where it fell and everything, what did you take with you into the next thing?
Man, I'm a hustler, you know. I really am.
Gotta be.
I am a
Gotta
hustler.
be.
I
Yeah.
love the one thing I can feel very proud of my culture is like the Mexican culture really doesn't know anything but work. And it's really taken me far, that sort of mentality. And I don't have a plan. See, I don't go into the industry. A lot of people do, and I respect that. I don't. I'm just grateful that I get to work because I never thought I would be able to do it. And when people believe in me, I first of all appreciate it. I'm grateful. I'm thankful because he could have thought of 100 million other actresses, and he thought of me. And so for me, that already is such a gift that I'm like, why wouldn't I jump into someone's vision and try it? If it works, amazing. If it doesn't, fuck it. I had an amazing time. And life is short. You gotta do the job. You gotta, do the small job, the big job. I'm a true believer that there's no right or wrong, and I learned on the go. I didn't have I came to America. I didn't have knowledge about the industry. I don't even know how to audition in English. I had no clue. Robert Rodriguez looked at me and said, I believe in you, and took someone believing in me. And so I just want to pass that along. And I'm a scrappy worker. And to me, I went and did ASH, but then I was coming from the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and then I went and did Three Body Problem. Like, to me, it's like being around people that are creative.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Please.
Oh, wow.
When are you gonna produce or direct a movie?
Oh, pretty soon. Pretty soon.
I was like, yo, you gotta do one.
When we were doing it, you're like, you really should be directing.
Yeah, you gotta.
It's scary, It's always scary, but
That's
I feel
how
like
you know it's the right thing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. But I feel like I'm getting confident, close to being confident enough to doing it, because finally I feel like I can be in this space and I'm not taking up space. I'm like, I deserve to be here.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that
like,
took time for me.
Standing in your power, it takes
Yeah.
a while, but it's about when you find your authentic voice and what you're bringing.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's different from what everyone else is
Yeah,
bringing.
yeah.
And that's a beautiful moment as an artist.
Yeah, and I think as an immigrant, it's very vulnerable. The transition is very vulnerable, and you feel like you don't belong and you don't deserve it. It was a journey, but
Yeah.
I couldn't have been happier. And again, like, my relationships throughout life has been like this. Like, I worked with Rosamund Pike, and then I called her and I was like, can you come to this movie? She will do it. And I would call tomorrow Aaron, and we'd be back and forth. And that's the kind of friendships that I want to build.
Yeah.
Is like, if Philo needs something or Aaron, I will show up. It doesn't matter how big or small. It's like about a community.
Well, I hope that you and Aaron show up somewhere together just so you can just keep beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I'm down.
because-
I'm down.
Well,
a lot.
hugging
While
when we cut.
hugging,
Yeah.
when
and
we
then
cut.
there's
Yeah.
a rainbow somewhere.
Yes.
And because Ash is that kind of jam.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel I don't even know how to end this because I never want to let you out of the room. So it's like, how about we wrap this up by you telling people what you hope they take from Ash, because it's so many things. It's a thinker, but it's
Yeah.
super fun. There's action. There's everything, and
Yeah, I hope
fucking glowing costumes. Pardon me.
I mean, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, I think honestly, I really hope people have fun with it and are able to escape the crazy world that we live in for an hour and a half and just enjoy it. That's all. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of passion that went into it, and I hope it's obvious. I hope that when you see it, it's like, oh yeah, well, someone tried.
No, it's blind.
I'll just go on the record as saying that anybody doesn't see that in the movie has their eyes closed.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Maybe in more ways than one, but that's how we're going to wrap this up. Just enjoy it.